Yo, what's happening, folks? It's UNHOST here, and today on Facts, I want to talk to you guys about anvils. And I'm basically going to try to cover every single thing that they do while not taking up too much of your time. So let's get right into it.
Time to have some fun.
Alright, guys, so the first thing I do want to test out is going to be the gravitational damage and, different other things like the longevity of the life, how far it needs to drop to break, different things like that. I've got a little label over here that we can put anvils on and test it on different subjects. No animals will be hurt in the making of this film, although I will try to do my best to actually hurt them. And yeah, so let's get started. So first things first, I want to let you guys know something that Minecraft is always changing, especially the new stuff. Anvils might change, so if you guys are watching this video after Halloween or something, something might change. Just letting you guys know. If it does, check the description and the changes will be there. So the first thing we're going to test is how far does an anvil need to drop before it breaks. So we've got level 49 right here. Oops, let me move this down one real quick so we can pretty much have it at level 50. Let's move it just down one. That'll be dropping at level 50 then. So let's see. Put it here. That is 50. Yeah, so that's 49. We'll drop it from the 50 mark, and we'll just see if that has enough velocity to actually break. So here it comes, and it's still alive. Let's see. Is that a very damaged or a regular damage? So you've got the different kinds of anvils, and we'll talk about the damage values a little later as far as using them. But the breakability, that looks like yeah, that's a somewhat damaged. So it needs to be a lot higher than that. So we'll amp it up a little bit. Also, I'm sure some of you guys are saying, "Hey, why don't you just look it up on the wiki and go by that number?" Well, to be honest with you, I do these videos to test myself, and I don't really like looking at the wiki. You can never really trust the sources without doing them yourself. I found a lot of stuff out, well, not a whole lot, but some things out that were not right on the wiki and had to be changed. So we are at the 69 mark. Please get your minds out of the gutter. And, well, actually, this can be 70, so there we go. Very good. Let's see if this is enough to break it. Here we go. Go ahead and drop her. Breaker, breaker, 110. Come in. Here we go. Boop. Wow, okay, so it's not even very damaged yet. It looks like we're going to have to go a little bit higher. Alright, so after all that talk about the wiki, I decided, hey, the best thing to do is go look at the wiki. So that's what I did, and I found out that I'm completely wrong. It can actually never go past the slightly damaged stage to the very damaged stage if you're dropping it as a brand new anvil. So, check this out. Another funny thing is Steve also drops faster than an anvil. No comment, I guess. Hamburger eating son of a gun. So, there you go. As you can see, it's still like that. We dropped it from the build limit, which was 256, and now we're at 50. So, yeah, there's an equation, actually, that you can kind of calculate the percent chance that it will be damaged. So we can even drop it from here, won't be damaged, and like from here, there's a chance that it'll be damaged. There you go. And not damaged. So that equation is 5 plus the distance dropped, which, let's see, let's just do 1. So 5 times 1, that equals 5 times 5. So there's actually a 25% chance that it takes damage from falling from a 1 high area like this. Now falling from a 2 high, that would be 10 times 5, so it's a 50% chance that it takes damage. We're getting pretty lucky so far. Not taking any damage. And then we'll go up to 3, 75% chance that it takes damage. And so on and so forth. That's actually in the game code itself. And I had one of my good buddies look it up for me inside the game code, and that is exactly what the algorithm is, or the equation, I guess you could say. It's not really an algorithm. But that's exactly what it is. So, if you do drop an anvil, don't worry about it disappearing or being very damaged. So now it's time to get into the fun stuff. Let's start dropping these on some heads. So, it does damage mobs. And it does damage the players as well, but it will not do any damage until it actually reaches the ground and becomes a block. So it doesn't hit your head or anything like that. It actually hits your feet, I guess you could say. Because if it doesn't do that, if it doesn't actually land and become a block, or if it breaks or something like that, you don't take any damage. We will project these from cannons a little bit later in the video, meaning, you know, if they drop and you light some TNT by it, it's going to go flying. So that means if you are hit by the entity that is flying, so if this thing was levitating in the air and went through me, it's not going to do any damage. It only does the damage when it lands, and only the entity or whatever it is that can take damage that is on that exact block. So you can't like shoot it straight at someone and expect, you know, a straight shot to actually do any damage. It has to be on the ground and a block. And as you guys can see, the hitbox, you can actually stand inside it. We'll do an F5 real quick. Yeah, that's where the hitbox is. So it's a little goofy, but that's okay. No big deal. Doesn't really break anything or nothing too important. Also, some of you guys might be thinking on the video it says that this is part 1 of 2, or just part 1, whatever I decide to name it. That is because today we're just going to be talking about the gravitational aspects, the damage aspect, and all that. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the enchantments, the repairs, and everything else left that I don't cover in this video. So if you guys have anything you do want to test with the Anvil that you don't see in this video, make sure to leave it in the comments below so I can test it for you guys. And also, part 2 will be out tomorrow, so you guys don't have to wait that long at all. So, some of you guys may be wondering, does it just hit one mob? Does it just hit one player if they're standing in there? Or will it damage the entire area? And, well, I know the answer, but let's test it out. We'll go right up on here, make sure we get a nice kill shot. Missing a little piece of glass. Boop. Alright. Kill shot. Here we go. So, as you guys can see, some of them didn't die. Some of them did. It looks like the ones with armor are the only ones that lived. Yeah, only just a few of them with armor actually lived. So that's pretty interesting. We must have dropped it from a height that was pretty close to being full damage. I also want to test if the damage is very consistent. Meaning, you know, if you drop it from one height, is it always going to do the same amount of damage? Much like swords and other weapons that do not deal consistent damage. Alrighty, so I will be talking about the exact equation in just a minute, but just to do this test real quick, I want to see the consistency of the damage. So we'll release it from the red mark right here, and just see how much damage we take. Okay, so we took 3 hearts. Now let's see if we can drop it from that same spot, if we can take 3 hearts again. And we'll do this with a few more. Oops, maybe I should have reset my health. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so we are back, and we've got some health potions on us right now. Let's test it out. We did take 3 hearts of damage indeed. Let's heal ourselves. Try it again. It does seem pretty consistent, and I think the game code definitely says that it does consistent damage over time. There's an actual equation. Didn't heal my health that time, but that was 3. Definitely 3 hearts. Let's do it a couple more times, just to make sure. 3, okay. Another thing I'm also wondering about is difficulty. If the difficulty changes, are you going to take more damage or less damage? So, of course, there's the rain, just what I wanted. Okay, so the last test we did was in peaceful. So we took 3 hearts of damage, let's remember that. So we'll go to game mode. Let's just be drastic, change it to 3. Oops, not game mode. That is difficulty 3. And we'll see. It did change. It did indeed change. Just doesn't say it. Drop it from the red mark. And the difficulty does not have anything to do with it. So that's actually pretty handy to know, and that it's not in the wiki. Now here's something. This is probably one of the most interesting things that I've seen. If you were wearing a hat of any kind, leather or diamond, or gold or iron for that matter, your damage is reduced by almost a little bit more than half. It's reduced by 0.55 damage. So let's go ahead and test it out. We should take 1.5 hearts of damage, I think. Unless it's rounding up. Yeah, it might only do 1 heart. It might just round up that since it's 0.55. So let's try it again. Let's recover that heart. There we go. Yep, okay, so it doesn't seem very consistent with the helmet on, it seems. Might be wrong. Hopefully we're wrong. Let's try it out again. We do have a helmet on. Then we'll move to the diamond helmet next. Okay, 1.5. Okay. I might have healed a heart right when it did that, or half a heart. I might have healed that right as we were testing it. So let's do full. Yep, 1.5. So let's try it with the diamond helmet as well. And obviously, if you have different kinds of armor on, it's going to absorb whatever that kind of damage is. But if you just have a helmet on, you can take just reduced damage. So if you have prankers on your server or anything, make sure that you're wearing helmets at all times. I personally don't wear helmets on my server, so yeah, the native guys, knock yourself out. Now we'll talk about a few other things before we wrap the video up. I want to talk about how, obviously if sand, gravel, or dragon eggs drops on something like a torch, it'll break. That is the same for the anvil, although they're, whoa, like maybe not. Maybe it's changed. Yep, the wiki still has it saying, that's why we do the tests, guys. The wiki still says it'll pop off with a torch, so that's pretty cool. Now it says some other things about the player head, or the little heads that you can get right here. It says they will pop off as items. Let's try just a few different kinds here. Do this, and that. Get rid of this. Actually, we'll need to keep that. So it says these will drop as items. Let's see if that happens. Okay, so the heads do drop as items, so the other ones just disappeared, which that's really helpful. There's some other exceptions as well. Okay, so after reading over the wiki and doing a couple things myself, there are a lot of different items that the anvil will drop, and there's a lot of different items that will actually result in the item pretty much being vanished. So if you drop it on a half slab, it'll drop as an item. Same goes for quite a few other things like boats, cobwebs, fence gates, and quite a few other things. And if it drops on something like a torch, or I think it said a rail will actually disappear as well, any type of rails. We'll test out the other two kinds just to make sure. It's just going to cover them up and kind of eat them up, I guess you could say. So if you guys want a complete list, you guys can check in the description below and actually go on the wiki page yourself and check it out, although I do advise doing your own testing. So after a recent update, Jeb and basically Dinnerbone kind of teamed up and said, hey, we're going to make anvils not be able to be pushed by pistons, kind of like furnaces, dispensers, obsidian, things like that, and bedrock. That's because they don't want them to be duped. They had the qualities of sand, gravel, and dragon eggs before, but now, as you guys can see, it will not push at all. And we'll test out, just in case, we'll test this out as well, the pulling. And it does not pull. So it's got different qualities. It's a unique item, a very, very unique item. So another really unique thing is, you can place these in certain directions like so. Turn the volume down just a bit. You can place them in certain directions like so and, have them facing different directions. But when they drop, you can drop it from here or like this. And they always default, supposedly, in the same direction. So you've got to go in this way and this way. We'll drop it from here. So once again, the wiki has failed me. That's why we do the testing, guys. It has been changed since the wiki, so I'll actually be going in myself and kind of changing the things up in the wiki. But as you guys can see, it does default back to the main orientation, which is, let's see, east and west. But it does eventually go back. So, yes, like I said, the wiki is wrong again. That's why we do these crazy tests. Also, just a couple more things before we wrap up. It does take 31 total iron ingots to make one of these, so they're a lot less expensive than they used to be. As you guys can see here, it's got 31 ingots. That makes up 3 blocks and 4 remaining iron ingots to actually craft one. To talk a little bit more about the damage values, the enchanting table and obsidian have the same blast resistance as the anvil itself. That's 6,000. So don't even think about blowing it up with TNT. It ain't gonna happen. Also, to kind of bleed over into tomorrow's video, I will say that the anvil has about 31 uses on average. That's just taking all the times that anvils have been broken through usage, and that includes renaming and doing repairs and stuff. But like I said, tomorrow's video, part 2, will be about the renaming and all the different things that I did not cover today. So, like I said earlier in the video, guys, please write in the description anything that you guys would like to know. and we will definitely test them out tomorrow, even if it has to do with the damage. If I miss something that has to do with damage, let me know in the description, and I'll go through every comment and let you guys know in the video tomorrow. Alright guys, and the last piece of information is that you actually cannot interact with the trade GUI or open it up before it falls or during the falling point. So even if you spam right click, you cannot open the GUI. Alright, so thanks for watching guys, I do appreciate it, and like I said, leave some comments below, give a thumbs up to the ones that you guys like the most, and y'all have a good one. Adios!